I'm a little emotional, but I just want to say thank you to everybody. Since day one, you guys treated me and my family with a lot of love. I wish it wasn't ending. And you guys are still going to be my family no matter what. I have no words, and I woke up and I was surprised like all you guys, but at the end of the day, soccer is like that. Sometimes we got to move on and go somewhere else. And just know I love you guys all, and now I'm going to be looking forward to coming back to Q2 and playing in front of you guys. Yeah. So you can boo me, you can say whatever you want. There's still love there. So again, I appreciate everybody who showed up, and I hope you still keep supporting no matter what jersey I wear or where I am, because I'll do the same thing for you guys. I love you.
All right, good evening and welcome to Futbol En Vivo on Club Deportes Season 2, Episode 25. We are every week on clubdeportes.com. Be sure to follow us on Twitter at Futbol Austin. That's FUTBOL Austin. Follow Club Deportes at Club Deportes. For all the latest and greatest sports news and commentary, you got to go to clubdeportes.com. I am your host, Eric McCoy, and I am joined by the only person in the United States that still likes penalty kicks. It's David Alvarez.
I love penalty kicks. It's my favorite.
The essence of football, David, right?
Es la esencia del fútbol. If you don't know how to kick penalty kicks, don't think about winning any World Cup. Or any Copa America.
A penalty shootout.
Or any shootout.
So
If
so
usually comes up
So
at some
penalty
point.
shooters are 90% mental, 50%.
We can talk
Might be a
about
little
that
too many
later. I
percentage
think
points
we,
there.
we will see what happened. We can talk about what happened with the. With the
We
other
are
shit.
going to get
Yogi
into a
Berra-
lot of it.
Berra thing there.
Yeah.
And I am also joined by a man deeply saddened to learn that soccer is, in fact, a game of millimeters. It's Jorge Chavez.
Game of inches, small
Just
portions
maybe
of inches.
just a
Photographic.
single
A
millimeter.
single millimeter.
A
One-
single
eighth
millimeter,
of a-
right.
Photographic finish.
nothing-
That's the word, the best word I can find.
Yes,
Photographic
A
a
finish.
true photo finish. David.
Technology finally has arrived without the human intervention.
I've got news,
you know?
David. Technology's been around a little while.
Because it does not have the human intervention. This was only machines
was-
that determined this situation. With humans around,
You just can't trust a
Yeah.
human
VAR
being,
could have
can you?
happened.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So we're going to get into the Women's World Cup and the U.S.'s elimination from that competition a little later in the show. But first, of course,
Yeah.
we got to start with
Sorry.
Austin FC. No matches to discuss this week, but boy, oh boy. Yeah, unfortunately. But boy, oh boy, is there a lot of news, a lot of talking points with regards to Austin FC.
yes.
So obviously, I think still the big topic of discussion amongst this fan base is the Diego Fagundez trade.
Right.
We have had a week now to process, to ruminate over this trade. We've heard from Rodolfo Borrell, Austin FC's sporting director. We can get into his comments a bit later on. But first, Jorge, I want to start with you. A week later, or nearly a week later, what are your opinions now of the Diego Fagundez trade?
I would have liked, from a fan perspective, to see him have a good, proper send-off, not just by a couple dozen supporters at Hop Squad the night before the day he was traded.
More than a couple dozen people.
But
David and I were there.
I mean, you could see the sadness in the faces of a lot of of the fan base. He was really a beloved player here.
Like the kids, everybody,
yeah.
all ages.
The Murka had a chant for him, really good chant, by the way.
Great chant.
And so now they have
Catchy.
to word it for the next guy. But so from that point, sure. But from a long-term and a business perspective, I understand why it happened. And I think Borrell explained it in a way, and he's got the background to back it up, coming from a Man City or Liverpool, Barcelona. The man knows what he's doing.
Strong resume.
The strong resume that I think a lot of the fan base understood what happened, on why it happened, and what had to happen now. There's still a lot of hard-headed
The
guys out
majority of
there.
the people? I don't think.
I
I still don't get it.
I mean,
I still don't get it.
I think I saw the reaction from the Borrell, the Austin FC. Michelle put it. I can't remember who put it. Goodman, Eric Goodman put it. A lot of the reaction on Twitter, and we know, well, it's X now. Sorry. A lot of
Always
the
gonna be Twitter
A
today.
lot of the reaction
Mr.
on
X.
X was pretty positive. They were diplomatically, but they were like, "Oh, fire Borrell." No, they were fire Wolf for some reason that really has no merit in reality. I don't think.
I think one of the key takeaways was that this Borrell had a lot to do with this trade.
He had a
More
lot to
so
do with
than
it.
Wolf, it would appear.
Exactly. And so I think it was a little misguided, the anger at the beginning. Was, let's face it, the Verde fan base is pretty emotional. When they put their hearts to something, they make it happen. So
it is disrespectful.
So okay, we'll get to your thoughts here in just a second. I think the key point that from this press conference, the thing that I think was most illuminating, was that it was in fact the LA Galaxy who had reached out to Austin FC with regards to this trade. Right. If you look at where the Galaxy is, a big club that had big expectations going into this season. They're outside of the playoff places, but still within touching. I think they're 7 points off a playoff spot. So if things go well, they could end up making the playoffs. And they could only acquire players at this transfer deadline via trade. And so I think that put them in a unique position to actually want to take on a player with $1 million salary.
And offer the money that they did.
Exactly. Who is actually, really underperforming if you look at where he was at last season versus this season. So basically, if you're wanting if Borrell is really wanting to shape this team in his image, freeing up that $1 million from an underperforming player, this may have been the only opportunity to actually get this contract off the books. And remember, 2024, 2025, Diego Fagundez still would have been under contract with Austin FC. So I think this was a real opportunity. And even though he did say at his introductory press conference that he was not going to be involved, I think whenever the LA Galaxy made a phone call,
was involved.
He was involved. But as the circumstances changed, I think you're the sporting director of the team. You got to take that call.
At the moment.
Hey, that's what we asked the question at the beginning. We knew it's going to be involved in that movement. We knew, everybody knew. It's not going to be neutral when he's already sitting in the office.
In the good words of Eric Goodman, it was a PRE.
And it's the same thing. And then the other problem that I have, and we talked about before, the fact that he said that the second year the team, overachieved.
Okay, David. It's interesting that you bring this up because here I've actually got some numbers because I was going to ask you this question specifically.
Okay.
And so I'm ready. I'm ready for this right here. So Austin FC, if you look at their expected goal differential from last season, expected goal differential, that's expected goals minus expected goals allowed. So basically the quality of chances Austin FC created versus the quality of chances Austin FC conceded.
Okay.
If you rank the MLS Western Conference teams by expected goal differential, do you have a guess of where Austin FC would rank out of the teams in 2022 last season?
Boy, it's just like my only thing. The only thing that matters
Do you
for
have
me
a guess?
is shots on goals.
Okay, well, we're talking expected goal differential.
Okay,
so
okay. It's like, shots on goal, but anyway, it could be like maybe second place.
No, Austin FC were 8th in expected goal differential.
Table.
Actually below the playoff line. In the last season, only 7 teams made the playoffs. And their expected goal differential was negative 1.7. By comparison, the first place LAFC plus 27.6.
Oh, wow.
That's a 28 expected goal differential between second place Austin FC and first place LAFC.
Right.
So I think Borrell has a very good point when he says that Austin FC overachieved last season. I think he is 1,000% correct.
And plus you got to remember.
It's just like that's fine when you say you overachieve, but why would you overachieve with the same coach for 3 years?
Okay, I have.
That's
a
what you're
question for
trying
you.
to say.
How did Austin FC perform
30
the last third of the season last year?
Last third, it was awful.
Exactly.
It was awful.
They got to second place
It was awful.
based on the first
and the lucky goals that we got in the first at the beginning of the game, the season. We got lucky games at the end of the, and we won away. We won many of the games away.
Right.
That was crazy.
So they overachieved. That's the meaning of that
No,
word.
I know,
That
I
they
understand.
achieved too much
But if you
at the
overachieve,
beginning of the
it's okay,
season
but
that they reached a plateau.
Thank you.
At the third of the game, and then they were awful.
Okay, if you
They did not
understand
win
that
any
you were
games.
overachieving, right? Yeah. Why then you take the main reason why we are overachieving, which was Fagundez? Why you don't take out Redes that hasn't done anything? Why you don't do something with Mr. Rigoni that haven't done and won't do anything? So that's the question.
Probably.
Why do you have to take Fagundez?
The LA Galaxy were not asking about Rodney Redes and Emiliano
for
Rigoni.
Rigoni.
They were asking about Fagundez, which is, I think, why Fagundez was moved on. And I think that overperformance, that shows why the team shouldn't just stand pat with the roster as it is constructed. This is a team that needs to improve its roster to, avoid to ensure they have better performances because they were lucky last season.
How long this gonna take then? How long is it gonna take for the team? Because if you do this right now, we're not even making it. Barely gonna make the playoff.
Okay, that's an interesting point. But Borrell in this press conference, I think he said 3 to 4 windows was transfer windows was his quote as far as how long this rebuilding process could take. And so, buckle up, David.
I know that's the problem.
Right?
I don't want to buckle up. I want to just move quick, man.
It's for your own good, David.
You have the case. You have Tuca Ferretti from Cruz Azul, a famous team. And then Cruz Azul.
No comment. Okay.
Cruz Azul we made champions with Tigres, but now it's about to be fired because in the League's Cup he got out at the League Cup, so he's gonna be out because he didn't make it in the League's Cup.
All right.
What's gonna happen with our coach?
I have an answer for you.
Okay.
Do you guys remember? Are you guys football fans? American football fans?
Only UT.
Passing. Okay.
Only Longhorn.
So you may not remember what happened in 1989. in the middle of the season, 1989.
Uh-huh.
The Dallas Cowboys had the best running back in the NFL in Herschel Walker. And they traded him mid-season, their best player, to the Vikings. And they were awful for the next 3 years. In 92, they won the Super Bowl. In 93, they won the Super Bowl. In 95, they won the Super Bowl. Because they got a lot of trades based on that trade. This is going to be something similar. Borrell is going to get the best.
This is looking too much of a business planning than a
but-
reality of football,
It's a
man.
great analogy, Jorge. I
But
really like this.
because Borrell, I think, is going to do the same kind of thing. He's going to get rid of contracts. He's going to get rid of Bergoni. He's not producing.
I did.
So it's obvious to the fan base. He's going to get rid of Redes. He's not performing. It's obvious to the fan base. But
Vámonos.
they're not going to. But based on their performance the last year, 2 years, 3 years, they're not going to get as much as a Fagundez is, who has proven that he can do it. He's been injured this year. His production has not been as well. But you don't think
Still
you don't think the Galaxy has video of him playing well
what I
beyond
think,
this year and with the
what I
when it
think
was
is
before?
what Fagundez have done. All these games we came back from a very lackluster, performances. What he has done, I bring the team up to the playoff. Without Fagundez, we wouldn't be where we are. So that's my
That's
problem.
true.
That's my problem.
true.
You cannot, if you have a replacement for him, good, great.
Well, let me just say this, David. Diego Fagundez in MLS play has produced 2 goals, 1 assist, as I mentioned earlier, and Austin FC are still in 5th place. So that's only 3 goals of production from Diego, and they're still in 5th.
But do you want to build a team around a Drusi or a Fagundez?
Both of them. The idea was to have both of them because the connection was there, and we saw it in the last game. In the last game, we played good. The first half of the game against I think that was Juarez, right? In that game, you see the connection that they have.
So if a Galaxy came,
And who missed? Reddit to give the pass to Reddit, and he missed.
You expected Borrell to get a call from Galaxy offering almost $1 million in GAM and say no, thank you, because we want to build around this guy? That's going to take another 2 or 3 years with less money? I'm sorry. I
think
full on with Borrell.
It's just asking. It's like if it's the same thing they ask Messi, right? Saudi Arabia offering billions and billions of dollars, and he say no. And Mbappe the same thing. Mbappe say the same thing.
But
no,
who watches
say,
the Saudi
for
league?
1 year he was offered 700
Who
million,
watches the
and
Saudi
he was
league?
able to say
And
no. I don't.
you
It's not about money.
And he's going to be.
It's not
he's
about
gonna be
money.
Offered,
It's about what you need to do as fast as possible. You cannot be waiting for another year
but
for
Messi's
things to
looking
be
at,
changed.
Messi is looking at this long term. He may not be getting the money now, but he's going to get an investment in a team for MLS in the future. He's going to get money from Apple TV. He's going to get all sorts of money from merchandise. So he's going to make the same in a league that's more visible than the Saudi
is
league.
not going to be patient.
Okay,
People is not
here's the
patient.
question I have. Is I think, David, even though I disagree with you, I think you're bringing up an interesting point. Because in regards to this fan, everything you said, Jorge, makes so much sense. I love the analogy with the 1989 Dallas Cowboys. I actually just had a conversation with an Uber driver in Dallas about that very trade.
Yeah.
So that is funny.
Interesting.
It is funny. We brought the exact same trade. But this approach, though, I'm going to call it, it's a bit of a cliche, but a Moneyball approach to squad building here. Is that something that this very passionate fan base, does it vibe with the passions of this fan base that
They wanna
build
win
connections with players that do want to win now, that are maybe not interested in, like David, in buckling up and waiting 3 or 4 transfer windows for this team, for this vision of Borrell to really come to fruition? Is Borrell the right guy for this city, for this fan base?
It's hard to answer that because I think Borrell is more a pragmatic approach.
He's like way more pragmatic than...
And just looking at the numbers of the things, and he's learning. Obviously, he doesn't. He said it himself in his press conference. He doesn't know all the transfer laws and rules, and he's going to be very limited. But so is everybody else. But because of those restrictions, he knows that he cannot ask Precourt to find me Neymar. Find me an Mbappe.
Well, Neymar is looking for a team.
Yeah, we'll get to that. But So he has to work within the confines of the MLS salary rules.
And he specifically mentioned those rules in his press conference.
Yes, and so I think based on that limit, he had to make this trade. I know it was heartbreaking for the fan base, but he had to make.
So both
this
of you
trade.
agree with that? It was the right move to do.
I think so, and okay, I do think this is going to be difficult for this fan base because they're seeing a team that finished second last year, and they're seeing one of the most popular players get traded, and they're mad, and it could take 3 or 4 transfer windows, which is basically 1 or 2 seasons before we see.
You don't mess with the fan base, you know. You don't mess with the fan base.
Here's the thing, though.
You don't.
Here's the thing: were Dallas Cowboy fans in 1989 irate that Herschel Walker was traded? I am
Very
sure
much
they
so,
were.
yeah.
Were those
I
same?
was one of those irate. What the hell are you doing?
Yeah.
Were those same fans not elated come 1995 after the 3rd Super Bowl? They were. Winning will cure the frustration.
Honestly,
hear that.
honestly, it's just like it putting at risk even the chance to qualify for the playoff. That's my point of view.
I agree because I don't think there's any way you can look at this losing Fagundez and not seeing this team get worse in 2023. You can't say this is a better team without Fagundez than with him, as much as I just kind of celebrated the trade.
Exactly, it's like waiting.
But honestly, even with Fagundez, what realistically was this team going to achieve this season? I mean, maybe you make the playoffs. You can still make the playoffs even without Fagundez. You probably weren't going to win more than a game.
Have you seen how irregular all the other teams are too?
Fagundez.
You know, all the other teams in the MLS, they're very irregular, many of them. Like they can win some of the games in the Nations League, but they cannot win the games against the regular MLS, you know? So it's like...
Yeah, I guess different
and
priorities.
so everybody got this problem with everything, you know, and you need to be managed everything correctly by now, right? But, I mean, I don't have much hope. I don't want to wait. I don't want to wait.
And I do think, it'll be interesting to see. I mean, Austin FC, when they come out of this Leagues Cup break, they're at St. Louis, at FC Dallas, then at home against Seattle. Those are 3 really tough games.
Really tough
games. It could get ugly before it gets pretty for this team.
And I think a lot of the fan base, and probably us included, are going to say, if Fagundez was playing, he could have done this player, that player, the other.
I can already picture.
We're going to do it.
I'm going to have a question. Would Diego Fagundez have made a difference in this match? I can already picture myself writing that question.
It also depends on his replacement, Memo. He's not that bad.
No, his numbers actually.
People really should
good.
Look at him. He's all right.
I mean, he's
So
gonna
he's
have a scarlet letter on him whenever he comes out to play. Fans are not going to be happy. I love the Austin FC Twitter account, like announcing Memo Rodriguez and like expecting people to be cheering. And all the comments were just negative underneath the announcement of Memo.
You know.
I feel kind of bad, Memo. Hometown kid. So,
he's from a couple hours away in El Campo, so he's a native Texan.
Yeah.
And by the way, he's from Zacatecas and mines too, so.
Oh, nice.
There's that connection.
Nice.
But he's happy to be back home. He grew up. He played for RGV RGV. He played for the Dynamo. Traded last season to the Galaxy, and now he's back over here in Texas soil. So
anything that's Texas, everything that's Texas is Texas, man.
We'll see what happens. We'll see how he does.
Okay, I want to kind of shift this conversation in a direction that I know you will appreciate, David.
Okay.
Because I've been seeing a lot. We just saw the hashtag flash up on the screen. There's a lot of anger directed at Josh. Now that actually makes a bit more sense. I hate to say it, but that makes a bit more sense to me. But I want to share a quote. Actually, this quote comes from a few weeks ago. I don't know if you saw it, David. This comes from an athletic interview with Rodolfo Borrell right after he had taken the job at Austin FC.
Okay.
And this quote, I mean, this is a doozy right here. Borrell said, "If Josh wouldn't have been the head coach right now, I would not be joining Austin FC. If I thought the style of play at Austin was too far from what I believe in, I would not have joined." So Borrell, big name guy, obviously the credentials, they speak for themselves. Assistant to Pep Guardiola, was the global sporting director at Manchester City. One of the reasons he's here is Josh Wolf. He is 2 months into the job, Why would you get rid of a guy that was a key attraction to him taking the job in the first place? Doesn't make any sense. I think people need to cool it on the Wolf Out talk. What say you, David, one of the OGs when it comes to Wolf Out?
What? I didn't say that.
Oh, come on!
Hey guys, you are guys.
You're talking about percentages, and you're
No, the only thing I can say is that
come on, man.
basically the tactical inferiority and inability to solve problems during games, those underscore failings with both the coaching and the player pool, and neither of those challenges are unique to Austin FC or the U.S. World Cup team. So I'm trying to. This is from the Guardian. This is from the Guardian from today,
Wow.
and it really says like you know, like since we have the team has the coach has failed to establish a clear identity for the team since taking over
the responses
3 years ago.
Yeah,
But he has also worked within a system that is very. I mean, this is nothing to do with this case, but I thought it was a perfect quote for what's going on with the team.
but I look at it.
I mean, what the decision to take Fagundez out? First of all, that's one reason, right? Why you do that when you don't have it? When you don't bring another forward? Why you take the decision when we need different players end up in the team if we want to go forward? Why? And it's like in many countries in South America, we take it seriously. Like when you are a fan, if you are a fan, the player of the people, you are going to stay there as long as you're an idol, right? And an idol, you never touch an idol. And that's what happened now. They touched the first idol that we had, and that's the problem.
I think,
and that's the point. And then what you're gonna do? You haven't done anything else to solve the problem.
But who gets the heat though? I mean, the heat from the fan base. Josh Wolf is getting the heat for this move, and it probably wasn't his doing. It was all Borrell, not all Borrell, I'd say. Borrell had a big hand to do with it,
it's just fine. But the problem is like they keep talking. Oh yeah, I'm not gonna do anything about it. Okay, when I'm gonna do something about it? What is the time? What is the time frame for doing changes? So having a change is going to be the next cup, international cup, or it's going to be the playoff.
He's a sporting director now.
Okay, or when I wait,
it was a week, a day, or a month.
Or when I wait, but we're going to wait for 100 years now. 100 years until the team gets something, right?
That's what McConaughey said. It's a 100-year war.
No, we cannot do that when things in Mexico they're done right away. Tuca Ferretti is going to lose the job this week if he loses.
He already lost his job.
He lost it.
He lost it.
So that's an example. That's the best example.
Okay, but I understand that goes on, and that goes on all
over the place.
Chelsea had 3 coaches last season, and they were awful. Like you can firing the coach isn't always the solution. And I'll tell you what is key though. You have a sporting director and a head coach that are on the same page with how they want their team to play. That is so important. That is more key to a team's future success than just about anything. Is having that synergy between front office and head coach. Austin FC have that. Borrell's only been 2 months on the job. Let's keep that synergy a little longer. Let's give him a few windows to bring in players.
But don't start saying do things that you say you are not going to do. Right? If you say that you're not going to be involved in this transfer window, don't get involved with it.
Okay.
So because
using your logic, Borrell is the sporting director now.
Yeah.
And Galaxy calls. Does he take it? Does he take
I'll take it. I'll take it. I'll take all
then
the call.
you're just contradicting yourself.
Contradicting
yourself.
I'll take it. Of course I'll take it.
He could have said no.
No, but
I'm moving my family right now.
But it's because
it's
more than that because of the decision that took him and Josh Wolf. Both of them took that decision.
Yeah, but Borrell
without Fagundez.
Yeah,
on the table. That's the problem.
That I do agree with.
Yeah,
they should have talked to Fagundez. You know what?
Hey, this is the option.
We have this option. You know, probably doesn't have that big of a say.
No Van Dijk when later on because that's happened to me many times. Hey, by the way, on Wednesday you need to move to Crockett.
Yeah, because
I was like, dude, when I have a job right here, why am I gonna move to Crockett?
We also need to remember that MLS is weird in this way,
to say the least.
Austin FC did not hire Fagundez. Did not give him the salary. MLS gave him the salary. The investors just manage how much he gets.
But the point is, he was
still
an
MLS
idol.
employee.
Idolo.
He's just going to go from one place to another. And
Everybody will.
And so, in a sense, the players don't have much to say about it anyway.
Yeah.
So if
and he was clear about it when he said,
Yeah.
"Hey, this is football." I knew it was involved.
And
he knew.
And he probably had a little better idea when he
And
left.
it could have been something inside the locker room that didn't work out.
Okay,
Anything could have happened.
There is a point that I think I've not seen people bring up that I think is worth pointing out, and this is not even just going to make me the devil's advocate to bring this up. This might make me the devil himself to bring this up. So I'm very curious to get your reaction. Very curious to get your reaction to this, David. If we remember the beginning of the season, Diego Fagundez did not look fit. Right, and he was called out on it, and I don't think he should have been called out on it publicly by Wolf. That was a mistake. But
because of the contract.
Diego Fagundez also should not have shown up out of shape for this season. And it took him a good 3-4 months into the season to finally start looking like the guy that earned that contract last season.
Yeah.
I mean, that's kind of on Diego. I mean, he's been blameless. I understand he's a hero to this community. He's done a ton, but man, if you don't show up fit and ready to play when the season starts, and you decide a big contract,
just get rid of them. Get rid of him right then and now. I mean, just why you wait when he is scoring the last goal for you?
Probably because
He's the last scored a penalty for us. Remember that was the last goal.
Probably because the Galaxy hadn't called yet.
The Galaxy weren't calling then.
Doesn't matter. I would not take it.
And I honestly believe, like, if Diego was putting up numbers in the same way he was last season, this move probably doesn't happen.
Probably doesn't happen.
And a big part of why it happened because he struggled so much.
So that's why LA was so interested in it, because he was playing so bad, right? I mean, what kind of business is that? You're trying to tell that LA make a very bad deal?
Honestly, I do think this deal is better for Austin FC than it is for the Galaxy.
Oh,
to be honest, I hate to say it, but I do.
I mean, you're saying that. Yeah, I mean, the numbers were not there, but at the end, they were there. The last few games he was playing there, there was the connection with Drusi. That's the only connection that took us to that overachieved season that we had last year. So don't tell me anything else. That's not who's going to replace him. Tell me who's going to replace him now.
Memo Rodriguez was just part of it.
I mean, give me a number, give me a name, and I'll be with you.
In 2023, I agree with you, David. Like I said, there is no way Austin FC are a better team without Fagundez than what they would have been with Fagundez.
And there is no replacement.
There is no replacement. Memo Rodriguez is a midfielder, doesn't play the same position as Diego Fagundez. So yeah, the team is worse for this season.
Player.
But
he can
I
play
think
in many positions,
perhaps, but
that's true that he can play in many positions and up front.
Memo or Diego?
Diego Fagundez.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, Diego does have quite a bit of versatility.
And he's not young anymore. It's like under 30s, and you know how I feel about it.
We'll get to that.
We're going to get to in just a moment, but no, I agree with you, David. The team is worse in 2023 without Diego than what they would have been with him. But this is a move made for 2024 and beyond.
Yeah.
When Austin FC, Borrell is trying to turn this team into a team like LAFC, like the Seattle Sounders, like the Philadelphia Union.
Like Barcelona, like Liverpool, like
if he turns them into those teams, we got a whole lot
that's the heritage,
in store for
That's
us.
the heritage. So.
But he is trying to get this team where they are consistently at the top.
I'm the happiest man about that. I totally agree with you.
Are you Borrell
out?
out?
A little sarcastic there.
Are you Borrell out?
No, of course not. Of course not. I'm not Borrell nothing. I'm not out of nothing. I'm just saying. I'm just giving you the numbers. What do the numbers tell you? What do the people feel?
The numbers say that Austin FC just got rid of $1 million contract that was assigned to a player that had scored 2 goals and 1 assist in 2023. Which is
those are the numbers.
Okay. Let's move on, man.
Okay, any final thoughts on the Diego Fagundez trade or anything Austin FC related before we move forward?
I think the fan base really is Borrell supplied a splash of cold water on some of the emotions.
Great way of putting it.
And I think, and then maybe you disagree, but I think a lot of the fan base, that's what they needed. That this is the reality.
Yes.
Precor didn't bring a team here because it was because of an emotion. because of emotions. No.
How do
He
you
brought
know?
the team here
How do you know that?
to make money. How has Austin FC sold every single game? Yes, win or lose. Even in the first season that they were awful.
Some feeling might have had when he got the team. I mean, come on.
I'm sure he had
Heartless
He was
decisions.
He was happy for it because he was going to make money.
He put it on the contract. In the contract, he said, I'm never going to send to Columbus, Ohio, except if we move to Austin. That's what he said in the contract. So he must have some feeling for Austin beyond the money.
He may have saw Austin as a city where he could make a lot of money having a soccer team.
Yeah.
I think it's probably what he saw.
So he's got vision for the future.
Because he's bringing the entire team from Columbus over here, right?
Well, he tried to.
He tried to.
I mean, they're still here.
We don't want to open up that kind of worms.
Yeah,
That's already been debated. But
okay, so any final thoughts then?
I mean, that was a great thought, don't you think?
It was an excellent way to wrap things up there, Jorge. Anything from you, David?
I mean, for Austin FC, I mean, it was a great timing. I think there was a perfect timing because now people is gonna forget about it like pretty quick and.
3 weeks to
and people people is gonna great timing for that type of decision. Although I'm not agree with it, I stick with your article that you wrote, and I think I was right on point. I feel 100% about it, even though you regret it later on. But
I
you have to write another article.
you have to regret another one because I was 100% with it. I mean, it's the heart of the team. You can never miss with the heart of the team.
I don't disagree with that. I don't disagree that this is a difficult time emotionally for Austin FC fans, but I also see the business.
It's a wrong way to start a relationship.
Business and the long.
You don't start relationships like that. You
It's
start a relationship in the right way. You know, you have to be nice at the beginning, and then maybe you can be bad. That's the way you do. If you're a salesman, if you're a salesman, if you're gonna buy something, you gotta be first. You need to be very positive, and then you go for the jugular. That's what I did.
Free life advice here on Futbol En Vivo. This is excellent stuff, David. Absolutely love it. Okay, let's move on here. We're gonna get to Messi in just a second, but first I want to make sure we get to the Women's World Cup and the U.S. is eliminated. I mean, the earliest ever that the U.S. women have been eliminated from a World Cup. Round of 16, they're knocked out by a millimeter, basically. Just a fraction of a millimeter. One of the more dramatic conclusions to a sporting event that I have ever witnessed.
Most anticlimactic end.
You could also say
because
that.
they were like figuring out, do I do it?
Well,
it
was
anticlimactic.
For who? For the Swedish?
For both of them.
I think you referred to the delay that it took.
US did not. They thought they scored, so they were waiting around for VAR to finish, and then okay, bye.
Anticlimactic? I mean, that was coitus interruptus. Come on, that was like
I know you love your penalty.
I love it. That was
a
beautiful ending, like the best ending in history. You never have technology being part by itself
without you were such a techie, though,
without human intervention of the VAR. I mean, you have to love it.
I actually really agree with you on that because if it were not for goal line technology and VAR, we would be debating whether or not this ball crossed the line till the end of time. And I'm so glad that we aren't doing that.
1966, remember it was Germany conclusive. And England in 1966.
Yeah, and we can
that you can go back
Maradona's
to those years,
hand of God.
Yeah, there were a lot of
we can go on the list.
Oh my God,
Maradona
guy's a different subject. No, come on, don't put it in the same.
Come on. If VAR would have existed then, Diego would not have been. There you go. Exactly.
So you're trying to say VAR would have let hand of God stay?
No, I'm not saying that should be a subject because that was really the hand of God. That was actually the hand of God that did it.
David, I hate to break it to you, man.
It was
you have to believe it. Like the way he jumped. I believe when he jumped, I totally believe it. Any referee, most people believe it at that time. Because he did such a good job.
Well,
he sold it to everybody.
Great.
And that's what I'm saying. And that happened at that time, before the VAR.
But if VAR would have happened,
then, it would have been. It wouldn't have stood.
So. The would have doesn't exist.
Now, get a little off track here. I want to ask you, Jorge.
Yeah.
what went wrong for the U.S. in this competition? Why are they eliminated at this early stage?
Too many older players, and not enough of a gap between the younger players and the older players. They just did not gel. I think the younger players were playing a different game than the older players, and they weren't. It wasn't just gelling. So, excuse me. So because of that, we had Trini Rodman's there, Sophia Smith's there.
A decent amount of young players out
there. They had good players.
Julie Ertz,
Germo was there.
I actually thought was really good in this competition.
Yeah.
For me,
31 years old.
It still played quite excellently in this tournament.
Yeah, she did.
I think the issue was more Alex Morgan up top, 1 assist, 0 goals in 4 matches.
She did not perform.
Yeah, not good at all.
34 years old.
Okay, yeah, 34 years old, and then Megan Rapinoe as
38 years old. 38 years old. You gotta be a
superstar.
superwoman to do that.
And
right?
I think both of those players kind of put too much weight on their name
and what they did,
what they've accomplished up to now. They put and the rest of the teammates say, "Oh my God, we're playing with Megan Rapinoe, playing with."
But that's the problem is not the other players. The problem is the coaches got them there.
I was getting to that. That the coach did not stop them from doing that. For a lot of the players, it was a privilege to play with these players, and then Noski should have cut that at the head and saying, "You are all equals here. You're going to play this. You're going to play that. You're going to play the other." There were a couple of injuries. We saw one of the poor players that got injured here at Q2. In fact, the best player, forgot her name at the moment, but she should have been there. Sauerbrunn should have been there.
Yeah,
Becky
that was a big
Sauerbrunn
injury.
should have been there.
Which would have put Ertz back in midfield, which I think would have really helped.
Ertz, she was just coming off, I think, a pregnancy or an injury. I can't remember what. So she wasn't in the best of shape when Sauerbrunn was injured. So it made it much easier to add Julie Ertz to the team. Not that she's a bad player. It's just at the moment. She was not at probably her best physical self.
Yeah, but I just thought Ertz did fine in Central.
Well, not too much things to complain, but
looks like we got the article on. Mallory
Swanson.
Swanson,
yes.
Yeah. Unfortunately, married to a Chicago Cub. I won't hold that against her.
Yeah, that's kind of too bad. But but she was playing dynamically. For NWSL, and
absolutely.
It's just very unfortunate that the way she got injured.
Yeah, I think you're definitely bringing up some very, very good points. Where I think in terms of like the deference that Vlatko showed to these veteran players, I think where it really hurt the U.S. was that for like Alex Morgan just was not good in this competition. And if you look at least in the first match, Sophia Smith was absolutely excellent playing down the left. Her natural position is actually through the middle, center forward. So essentially, you're having one of, if not the brightest player at this competition for the U.S. playing out of position in favor of a 34-year-old player who's just well past her best and not playing well.
And Sophia was not a factor in
she really struggled after that first game against Vietnam.
It looked like she was trying to learn the position as the game progressed, and you know she's a very good player, but that just wasn't her position. That's not what she plays.
Yeah, absolutely.
And that's where I think Mal Swanson's injury was much more important than was initially thought, because she played out of, if I'm not mistaken, on the right side, out of with the position Sophia Smith was playing. So then Sophia would probably have taken Alex Morgan's position, but they ran out of players.
Yeah, we still had. I mean, Lynn Williams looked very good coming off the bench. So you could have Rodman. I think could have played on the left side. You had other options there. You didn't have to play Alex Morgan up top when it just clearly was not working. The other point that I think is interesting is that this U.S. team in the final third, relative to other teams we've seen in this competition, I'm thinking Japan, I'm thinking France, where there's a clear playing style, there's a clear tactical identity. This U.S. team just did not have it.
It did not have it.
And I actually think you could argue this U.S. team has never had that, because they've never had to. They've always had more talent than the opposition. And now that the rest of the world
has caught up,
and the talent levels are much more equal, the U.S. are being caught out by just more tactically astute teams.
Yes.
And I think Vlatko is almost certainly gone.
Yeah,
and so I think
not coming
whatever coach the U.S. bring in, establishing a strong tactical identity with this team has to be the primary concern. And the great thing about it is, I don't think there's like a men's or women's like a definitive U.S. playing style.
No.
Whereas like I think like you can think of like the Spanish playing
It depends
style.
on the coach.
Yeah,
What new
absolutely.
coach they
So
bring
the
up.
coach gets to come in with. There's still so much talent in the
Yeah.
U.S. player pool with just
They
loaded
can mold them
talent
to whatever.
and a blank slate, because
Yeah.
it's not like Brazil where you have certain ideas about what Brazilian soccer should look like, or Germany, certain ideas about what German soccer should look like. U.S. does not have that, so this new coach gets to come in with just an amazing group of talent, and he can mold the team, or she can mold the team in their vision, whoever
At
the
least
coach may
that's
be.
what the way it was.
Yeah.
But not anymore. Like you said, the rest of the world has caught up. I mean, we have a lot of players. Sam Kerr, all the English players. Where do they play? They play in the English Premier League, and it's not the same as in NWSL. As good as NWSL, it's still a domestic league. So Chelsea has a team, Barcelona has a team, Real Madrid has a women's team. All these Premier League teams and La Liga teams and Bundesliga teams suddenly have this interest in women's soccer that it may not be financially feasible at the moment, but name recognition, they recognize their name recognition. And when you have most of the Spanish players playing for Barcelona and most of the English players playing for Chelsea or Man U or Liverpool or Arsenal Women's League, that's a different level than the NWSL.
Yeah.
And of all the players in the women's roster, only one plays in Europe. The rest of them play in the NWSL.
I think that's a really good point there, Jorge. A point of comparison that I want to bring up: the U.S. need to a cautionary tale. Let's say, I look at on the men's side Brazil, with the dominant force in men's football for forever till 2002 when they last won a World Cup.
Yeah.
And this is a Brazil team that I think is still produces great players,
Sure.
a ton of
Yeah.
very talented players, but they've lacked kind of that tactical cutting edge that we see from the top European sides, or even Argentina, really, and Chile at times, even you know, and when they had Bielsa there. So I think this is very important that the U.S. Don't get too far behind when it comes to the tactical ideas of the game. And I think it's a very good point with so much of the latest and greatest developments in women's soccer happening in Europe. The fact that so many of these players are U.S. based in the NWSL, that could potentially be a problem.
Yeah.
for the
Well,
US
I
going
think
forward.
the main problem I see with the game and overall is the fact that you're right. The rest of the country, the world is catching up to the U.S. quickly, and this World Cup has proven it. Not only, but the fact that we have African teams, two African teams still in there.
Yeah.
We had teams from every continent. From Asia,
That's wonderful
from
to see,
Africa.
right?
It's never been. This is the first time we have seen a World Cup where it's an equal. There's some teams, of course, way different, but everybody can compete with the U.S. And one of the reasons why the U.S. is not there, because you say right, it's not tactical. There's no changes on that, and also because now most of the players go directly to play professional. They don't have to go to college. And the American model is based on college. You go on college. So
Women's
there's
soccer
some
is pretty
exceptions.
strong. Yeah.
And so that also make the world catch up much faster because the U.S. got stuck in the college model.
And I think
players are really playing right away from high school in professional league.
And I think what kind of started this feeling for me is the under 20 CONCACAF championships. When Mexico women's team beat the U.S. under 20s to win the championship, we're talking about the same thing. They did not have a sense of they relied too much on the talent that they have. And the Mexican team, there's a lot of Americans in there, by the way. They caught up and they beat them.
But so
because they had a tactical way of going
But
around
the problem,
things.
like,
they didn't rely on just talent, but talent and tactics.
Yeah,
which is something that you probably be very
and that's the
happy
problem
about.
because there's so many players in the U.S. So many
The
women
Philippines,
play. You can
most
go
of the Philippines
anywhere.
women's
like
national
many
team
of the
was-
teams,
that is
like,
from here,
and
yeah.
you happen with Mexico too. Mexico
Mexico,
too.
a
Yeah,
lot
they
of
have
the
a lot.
players are here.
Canada, many of the teams are relying, like every team has some American
Every
related.
team has American-ish.
And every
Put it that
team
way.
was in love with Megan Rapinoe, was the idol. Like for many of the
Everybody
players,
looked up to
Alex,
her. Yeah.
Alex Moran was the idol of many of the players that play against them.
Yep.
Right. So that was like a privilege, and I think if you see it from a good perspective, yeah, it was wonderful that happened. It's sad that U.S. lost, and it's sad the U.S. lost because tactical and technique weren't there. All
Yeah.
the 3 penalties taken were technically a failure. Every single one. Like Megan Rapinoe hit the ball way too hard. Like she should have done all the other free kicks that she had and corner
Yeah,
kicks
it's a,
that
it's
she
a
didn't make it
much
to the second
different
post.
technique from the
She didn't make-
last World Cup.
You cannot hit the balls. And then the other ones, like the run to the balls were totally wrong. Both of the runs, the second run. So every single penalty was technically an error. So so much is tactical, it's technical. Everything was an error, like for the U.S. and it deserved to be out at this time. That's my point of view.
Yeah, and
I actually thought against Sweden that was probably their best performance of the competition. Somewhat.
11
But it
shots,
was too little.
11
It was too
shots
little
on
too
goal.
late.
11 against
It was
1
too
shot
late.
on goal.
Musovic,
I mean, you should have won
the
that
Swedish
game.
keeper was excellent. She
Yeah,
had a
she makes so
phenomenal
many
game.
saves.
She had a very good game.
She's a Bosniak, by the way.
Yeah, plays for Chelsea too. Chelsea's
there you
goalkeeper.
Oh,
But yeah, one final question for you, Dubby. This is it kind of relates back to what we were talking about before the show. How old is too old to play soccer?
how old is too old? If you feel that you can not get the ball when you think you could, that means that you're too old, right? When you really think you start playing and you think you're gonna get to that ball and you don't, that's when it tells
when you should hang it up.
The body tells you that you're not at the same pace. Like your mind is thinking something, but your body is not
Doesn't
getting.
catch up to it.
It's not
That's
doing.
right.
So like Messi does, he's very old, but he doesn't run that much. He runs when it's necessary.
He knows his
Yeah.
And
limits.
he has
knows his
really
limits.
ultra fit like Ronaldo. But when I was a kid, everybody retired before 30. All the men retired by 30,
But
right
when
before
you get
30,
30, 31,
and then you never. But now it's Megan Rapinoe was 38. What is she doing over there?
we're gonna
And
have
she
to go
should be
back and-
paid for. She should not be playing at 38, at 35, at 34. She should not be playing at 30. Alex Morgan either. Well, but we have her. I mean, the other lady, she would play really good.
Sauerbrunn was.
Yeah, those were
playing.
playing at the 30, but the main ones they should not even be playing. They were too slow, and they were not making. And they show it in the pre-games before the World Cup. It's not like we didn't know about it.
Yeah, I look at a player like a Marta for the Brazil. It's such a different dynamic than what Megan Rapinoe and Alex Morgan do, because I think that the U.S. And the coach in general rely too much on those particular type of players, whereas in the Brazil, even though they lost as well, but they used Marta in a different way. More of an inspirational, like, oh, you're sitting on the bench with her.
Yeah, she did not-
and Marta, I foresee her really becoming a coach someday. She sees things in
That's
such a different
It's
way.
a different thing. I mean, I don't think it's a coach, more like a politician, probably, because usually what happens with coaches, they always retire before 30. Most coaches retire before 30.
Like Josh Wolf.
No, Marcelo Bielsa, for example,
There are a lot of
Pep Guardiola.
Good coaches, all good
was
coaches
32,
retire before
I
30.
think, when he retired.
Yeah.
Made it past
Yeah.
30.
All right. Yeah.
So I
Okay,
don't
but
think it's-
speaking of old people, Lionel Messi, he's had a
30?
pretty good time.
Shoot.
Oh, look at Messi, he's still going strong.
Well,
He's
he
still going-
is, but he still looks
Isn't he
good. He
39?
still look young.
Absolutely.
still looks the
Still
same.
look
Still
young,
looks
just
good.
like
Absolutely.
some people in football.
I
En
really
Vivo.
foresee him in the next World Cup as well.
Very
I
well,
don't
very
see
well
why
could
not.
be there.
I don't see why not.
But let's Lionel Messi. He's doing some things
He's-
in this league. We got some highlights for you.
Yeah,
Did
We
you
had
guys
the la-
watch this
I-
game?
I watched this game.
I watched it
I
too.
watched the
This
game.
game.
I expected it. I almost paid $900 to watch this game.
You almost wait
Wait, what?
went
No,
in
no,
person.
no. I was looking at the prices. I was like, "What?
What do you mean?
Oh
$900?
yeah, they're pretty
To
expensive.
tickets to go to the game, not to
Yeah.
watch it on TV, right?
No, no, no,
That
no."
MLS season pass.
that's
doesn't
But I
cover it.
gotta tell you this. I mean, what was the game I watched? It was very like it would give me. The people were talking. this game in Spanish, they were talking about the word to delay. It's a delay.
It was a little bit of a delay.
Yeah, I was like,
a little bit
well,
of a delay, but
like that one.
Messi's
Oh,
first
goal!
and
Yeah,
the 6 minute.
6 minutes and he's scoring another goal. It was like a dream. This is doing like Messi is messing with Texas, man. They said, "Don't mess with Texas." Messi with Texas. He's messing with Texas. He would have messed with Texas. He might mess with Austin. He did it with Dallas, and he might do it with Houston. Man, he's gonna go all over Texas.
Yeah, and a lot of people were complaining that he got in the way. That there was an offside call. That was
No, it was perfect.
No,
It was
he
perfect.
did not obstruct the view or got in the way.
But what a game! What a game we were able to watch because. You see, Dallas had a chance to win the game, and
Yeah,
that was
they really were. Dallas
that was a great
kudos
shot
to Dallas.
on the
They
corner.
did not. They were not afraid of Messi.
This is a fantastic.
the
game.
last-
Really
Busquets
good.
or anybody.
The last 15 minutes of Dallas, they dominated the game. Like they were back waiting for the ball and putting pressure, and then doing the counterattack. And that was a beautiful
they
pass.
played their game.
A gorgeous pass to Ferreira. Ferreira does to the center.
Let me ask you, David, where is Sergio Busquets here? Defensive midfielder.
He's
Sergio
way
Busquets.
up
There.
there. He appears.
Hey, he went he did the fake with the left. What happened to Lima the other day? But then the other side. But then he put it with the right. I mean, it's a great move in a very small amount of space. That was a beautiful goal. Guy, I tell you, that was a gorgeous goal.
He played really well. The front four.
And Ferreira,
Pereira.
But we have where's the guy
more from him?
But Busquets is right there in the middle. Like Busquets is in his position. Busquets is in his position.
Just standing around. Shouldn't he be trying to do something here to
Well,
stop
he
this
is
counter?
too old, man. He's
He's
over
having some energy
35.
there, but,
how old is he? He's 30 something.
Oh, there he is.
Like this
finally made
is
it.
this league is for the. I mean, how
It's a
how
very-
old is Ferreira? He's a young guy.
I mean,
everybody's
and to be-
young
and to be honest,
in Dallas.
And to be honest, I think a lot of MLS teams are going to look at this tape and see what you just saw, and we just saw
Beautiful.
that Busquets is going to take a long time to
Well,
get back.
hey,
to the play.
didn't this remind
So
you
they're
of
gonna
the
play-
same goal that Stuver missed? It's exact, but this time the ball only went once bounce instead of 3 bounces.
It
The
actually
Stuver
does.
went 3
It's
times.
kinda close.
It is reminiscent
3
of that.
bounces,
Very
3 and a
close.
half, and this only 1 bounce. And Velasco was so happy that even exchanged the jersey with Messi. He grew
Well,
up.
they're
He was
compatriots, so,
Messi
yeah.
was his idol, in Argentina.
That was
He's a lot of-
That's a
lot of
great
people's
observation, David. David in.
And this
And
this
here's
kid is
Kremaski.
18 years old, man.
And
18-year-old playing with
Kremaski
Messi.
Is
gorgeous.
is being sought by both the
Oh.
U.S. and what the
Oh,
heck
that
that?
was. But
That's
I
a
don't
good
know.
goal.
I don't know.
that was a beautiful on goal, and this was even better.
This was an even better
better
one.
on goal.
This
Oh
the-
my God! I think he got
that's
paid
the
for it.
best
He
own
got
goal.
paid. No, he got paid. You cannot
the-
do that
it's
goal.
the
You
best
cannot
own goal
score.
I have ever seen
No,
in my life.
no. I see Vidal did one in
like-
Vidal did for Paraguay against Chile, which
like
meant that
everybody-
Vidal had done a
everybody-
better one that one. I
Everybody
think.
in X was saying that there was an opportunity for him to score off a Messi assist, and he
And
took
but
it.
this was the most beautiful goal
Played
again.
for the other team.
And he
But-
repeat again. It was the game was
I thought it was-
4-2,
I thought it was
4-2,
I
and he
thought-
made Tata Martino made the
brought him
good.
back.
He made the great substitution. He put Campana, he put Robinson in there.
put
So
Robinson in
and
there.
then that
I think
meant
is
that
balanced
he
the defense.
everything they needed to do, and then this happened, and you knew. Even the coach said, the Dallas coach said, for Messi, those are like penalty kicks.
Yep.
Those
That's
are
what I was
penalty
gonna say.
kicks.
He's
If
actually
in that
might-
area, it's a penalty kick. So
He actually might be better at those than he is at penalty kicks.
Yeah,
you consider his
probably.
penalty kick
you can
record.
make the argument, but this kid, 18-year-old, won in penalty kicks. I mean, what a wonderful things, for somebody that young to be playing with
And
somebody
to
who
be
beat
placed-
that.
and to be placed in that position.
Yeah.
Of winning the game. I mean,
Yeah.
and
And-
I saw something. I saw an interesting statistic that was very surprising to me. This is the first game that that a team that Messi is on has won a penalty shootout. That seems impossible to me.
That
No.
they didn't win one at the World Cup?
The World Cup.
Argentina?
No, for club.
For club.
For club.
Ah, for
this
club.
first team that is even
I mean,
a club.
we need to do the research on that.
Okay,
but-
Yeah.
we have 1 minute to go.
Yeah.
So I just have
Okay.
one quick question on Messi. Is it a bad thing
What are you doing, man?
that is.
Well, he's in jail now.
I think, yeah, so he's not doing Jeremy.
and out of sound mind.
He's had better. So just real quick, this probably is gonna be a yes or no question. Is it a problem for MLS, the image of MLS, that Messi is playing as well as he is? He scored 6 goals across 3 matches against MLS teams.
I think it's exposing what MLS lacks, which is defense.
Yeah.
And this is a problem that's always happened throughout MLS history. There are very few DPs that are defenders. Mm-hmm. Most teams use DPs as an offense, in offensive minded. So what this is MLS is exposing MLS defenses easily.
There's a really great point. I think we're just about out of time. I have a stat on that exact point. In the Premier League, the average defender makes 31% of what the average forward makes, so forwards are paid more.
Yeah, of course.
In MLS, the average defender makes 150% less than what the average forward makes. So much more money is going. It's a massive difference. Okay, we are out of time on Futbol En Vivo this week. It's been
Colombia.
Been amazing. Thank you to Colombia. We know where your allegiances lie, David. Thank you to Gio. Amazing work behind the boards as always. Thank you to our fans. Thank you to Club Deportes. We'll do this again next week.
Con esas tetas